Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Boldly Going. We've got the Film Fanatics posse here, and now we're going to delve into my favorite series in the Star Trek franchise, Voyager, with an epic two-parter, in which, well, it is pretty epic.
Janeway, your favorite.
It's sarcastically my favorite.
I was going to say.
It's generally one of the more hated of the Treks, but it has a fan base, and which Janeway and her crew have to save a planet and end up getting thrust really far out there and have to try and get back, and this begins that journey. So I'm just going to start with Dan, as I usually do. What did you think about the Voyager pilot?
Okay, well, as you may remember, I was not a huge fan of the DS9 pilot.
True.
But this one I actually liked.
Okay.
I like Janeway a lot. I like Kate Mulgrew as an actress.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
So not a huge surprise. But I thought that she did a much better job performing than Avery Brooks did in Deep Space Nine. I had some real problems with his acting. Here's what I liked about this.
Okay.
Now, I know nothing of Voyager.
Okay.
Except for Robert Picardo, who I love. Another great actor there. So I was happy to see him. I actually completely forgot he was a part of this.
Yeah, the hologram doctor is like the best character.
Yeah.
Next to maybe 7 or 9, who you'll come to much later.
Well, I do love some Jerry Ryan, so I'm sure
one of the big sci-fi sex symbols. Just
in this season, or
she doesn't come in, I believe, till 3 or 4. She's
it's a while.
Oh, yeah. so you're more familiar with Voyager.
Well, I know the actress, and I know that because she was on Boston Public after that, and so I knew she was on this, but I knew she wasn't there for the first couple of years.
Tell that cat to be quiet, please.
Should I
kick
him downstairs?
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
I don't know. It's just that he like.
He's the other way.
He's over here.
Not when I open this door, he won't be.
Oh, here he comes.
He's got a game plan.
There you go. Thank you.
Just like, sorry about that.
It's like Voyager was really well constructed. Meow. Paul agrees. We'll pretend like that didn't happen with an obvious jump cut.
Anyway,
you were saying.
As you were saying.
But no, so I knew Jerry Ryan from other things, so yeah, she comes later, but then I knew about her.
Do you like...
But I like that this sort of could stand alone as a film, I feel like. You know, some of these 2-hour pilots are obviously setting up a television show.
True.
And I feel like Deep Space Nine was sort of in that camp. But I sort of felt like this was a contained enough story that you could actually just watch that.
So you feel like this one doesn't leave so many plot threads open on like DS9?
Right. And I mean, obviously, it is the opening to a series, and, you know, you're going to see everybody. Just
to give you, I guess, a little bit of a comparison. To be fair, though, you're right. Voyager, I think this one is constructed better as a standalone story. It definitely is. But that's because Voyager, because DS9 was the experiment, Voyager saved territory much more episodic. So
because it's on
long-running storylines.
Yeah.
Back to form. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, that's why I'm fine with that statement.
And I like, you know, the Quark was in the opening scene.
See, another transition.
Another
great. DS9.
Passing that torch.
Excellent. I like that they do that each time.
I do too.
But continuing the legacy of McCoy, best.
Yeah.
Best.
That's
Picard, Sisko?
Picard, Sisko, actually, even though I didn't love the episode, that was probably my favorite of the crossovers.
Now, I want to ask you guys, I guess Dan in particular, but both of you, because I did prepare you guys with the last one, Best of Both Worlds, there is a significant aspect of Voyager that I didn't get into too much, but I thought you could probably follow it. It's the Maquis. It's basically this rebel group that wanted to take on the Cardassians outside of the Federation. They're kind of like pirates, and they obviously integrate with the crew of the Voyager. Okay. Did that confuse you guys? Because I didn't think it would, but...
No, I was okay with it.
Because Chakotay and his crew, you know, Maquis. Did you guys follow that okay? Or was that too political?
Do you want to start or should I?
I mean, I was okay with it. Nothing really confused me in this episode.
Like the cast, everybody worked together?
I wasn't real confused by any of the major plot points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you find it confusing all their decision on the planet? Any silliness? There's a pretty bad move that kind of bothered me.
Yes.
Which kind of, I guess is the emphasis for the whole series, but I kind of always angers me a little bit.
Yes, many people die.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
It's okay. All you people have watched. I
mean, I assume if you're watching this, you've seen the Voyager series. that could have been avoided, let's say.
That always made me angry with this one. I actually think that the Voyager pilot is pretty well constructed in that sense, but that one aspect is kind of evident of the stupidity of much of the writing in some episodes. And I just think Voyager's infamous for that. But I'm glad you liked it better. What would you rate it, actually?
I'm going to give it a B.
That sounds about right.
You know, I think it was a good start. I like that there is a Vulcan character that seems to be he's going to be a regular.
The controversial black Vulcan.
Sort of a nod. Is that controversial?
It was for like about a second, but then it's like the argument, well, if their race is kind of similar to humans, why can't they have different pigmentation? So that didn't bother you at all. Tuvok.
To be honest, I didn't even think about that.
Good. This is how progressive we're getting. I like that. Back when this came out, it was like
2015.
So, I know, but you got to remember back in '95. You know, like some geeks on some message board, like, man, they're Vulcans, black.
Is that right?
But you know, it's not.
I did always hate that they named him Tuvok, though. That
you don't like Tuvok? It's a cool name.
Yeah, but it's such a play on Tupac. I hated it.
I never thought about that.
You didn't? Didn't you think of that?
But
just a little bit.
He's one of my favorite characters on the show because he's like Spock, but you know how Spock sometimes had a sense of humor. Usually when he was being kind of an ass, there was some heart behind it. Tuvok's just kind of an asshole. He's just kind of condescending. He's the guy like, look, this is the way we should be doing things, and if you don't understand that, well, it's just not logical.
Wow.
So he's a little bit more.
He's a bit more stingy.
He's stingy, and he's standard Vulcan. It's kind of unofficial canon in Trek that most Vulcans are assholes.
Is that right?
Except for Spock and his
father. Spock is great.
Spock and Sarek are like the only two, nice Vulcans. But that's sort of unofficial joke. But anyway, Justin, I'm curious what your thoughts are. Well, very different opinions on the last one, so
yeah,
I'm wondering why you're here.
Well, this one brought up a lot of memories of another very beloved sci-fi show, and that would be Doctor Who.
Ooh.
Primarily in the case of the reboot series.
Okay.
Where we would get to a two-part episode, and the difference between the first and the second one can be incredibly diverse. And I feel like that was really my main reaction to this episode.
Okay, interesting.
Or episodes, if you will.
This episode. That's fine.
Okay.
Just one. It's two parts.
Two-parter. All right. The first part I thought was incredibly boring, very cliche.
Okay.
I did like Janeway.
Okay. Interesting.
It's just I felt like everything they were trying to do was incredibly forced.
I'd agree. So what do you mean specifically? I'm curious.
Like, oh, I need a rogue pilot to get on board my ship. That's supposedly one of the fastest in the galaxy, and
that's pretty standard.
Get on an adventure. Spoiler alert: he has some sort of moment that allows him to get in control of the
the academy
of the overall ship.
Yeah.
And just more or less things like that. You're like, this is going to go wrong in some way, shape, or form. That he has to prove himself. Maybe not to Wesley Crusher standards, but
so you don't like her second? You don't like him?
Getting to that actually.
He's kind of. I think he's kind of funny.
And then we get to the second part of the two-part episode.
Pretty heavy sci-fi stuff.
Where it gets deeper into the sci-fi.
Very Trek indeed.
Yeah.
Very TOS Trek, I'd say.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice throwback to the original, but yeah.
And we get more of that exciting, almost cinematic aspect of it that I really did enjoy.
The effects are pretty good, right?
The effects are really good in the second half, which I thought complemented the material well and got me more on board.
Well, the first half didn't really have that many effects.
No.
I would say.
But you can tell they saved their budget for the epic alien world.
Yeah, you're right.
But they did develop a pretty complex world, actually, which impressed me for that. You don't see that on that level. Voyager is one of the series, or actually probably the only one that does it to that level. But also because, better effects by that point. But, still,
it's true.
It is true, though. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I enjoyed that. I just wish it hadn't taken an entire episode to get to that element.
That's true, but it was the hook, I guess. What do you think about the decision to thrust them deep into space? Because that always bothered me.
Questionable at best.
I always thought that was a pretty dumb way to just say, yeah, we're going to begin the series because of sheer incompetence and stupidity. But whatever, you need a show, right?
Yeah, you got to have a show somehow.
It's sci-fi. We can get away with it, I guess.
I guess so. So what would you rate this one?
To be honest, I would probably leave this one with a C.
Really? Okay. So,
Worst grade so far from either of us.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
No.
Well, I'm actually kind of between you guys. I think that this one's okay. I think it does a good job of establishing the characters, and I think that the Voyager crew, like pretty much all Star Trek, the cast members do have good chemistry. I think that there's a decent setup, but I do agree with Justin that it doesn't really get interesting until that second part. It really does get much more interesting then.
I don't know. I sort of liked the getting to know the characters. You don't know how to make tomato soup machine. You know,
that was a good gag. I'll give you that.
I thought there was some okay sort of a more establishment. I know you just want to get into it.
No, I mean, well, I guess there's plenty of time to get to know them. There's only so much you can do in 2 parts. Much like Next Gen, it's the same thing. I know you knew them already.
Well, the Next Gen, right? I knew everybody, so I guess
see what I mean?
It's a little different. Yeah,
it's a little different, but it's the same concept. No, I thought it was fine. I just think that once they got into it, it was much more interesting in the second part.
I do agree that it certainly is better at the second half,
but I'm glad you guys like Janeway. She's one of the more divisive of the captains. The second most divisive. I guess Quantum Leap sort of counts.
Yeah.
People don't really consider him like a valid
there's no way around
entrance
that.
in the conversation, but maybe we'll get to him one day.
Someday.
If we get through TOS, we'll have to.
Yeah.
But I'm between you guys. I think with a B-. I think it's structured pretty well. I like the characters, but I think it drags a bit. I think it's a little uneven, and there are some significant plot holes that I think are pretty.
Yes, there are
negligible, but there once again, much like all these other pilots, there's better and there's worse to come.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the best we can start at. But as a start to the series, I actually think it's probably, of the 4, ironically, I think the Next Gen's probably the weakest, myself.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, I do agree that the Q part is huge.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's difficult.
I do have to say, if I didn't already know the characters, and, it's the first Next Gen I've seen in 15 years, it's great to see everybody again. That to me, I think, is the most obvious
ploy
that it was supposed to only be an hour. Like, of all of the ones, that has the most filler, I would say.
That's probably my biggest issue with it. Though I will agree with you, though, on DS9, I think that next to that one, it is probably the weakest of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm really surprised that Justin liked it as much as he did. I'm glad he did.
I was surprised at that as well.
But, I mean, there are some great characters, but it's just... maybe by comparison, once again, when you get further into DS9, like, you'll be like, with the pilot, like...
What a joke.
What a joke in comparison. But even so, good start. This one, I think it's okay. I think it's pretty standard Voyager. Mm-hmm. This episode. You can expect. This is a good time, I think.
I mean, there's definite payoff. Get back a little bit to the Q character. I'm kind of withholding judgment because I was talking to a.
Oh no!
I was talking to a Trekker that I used to work with, and I was voicing my opinions of Q. I was telling him, I basically feel like he's one gigantic space troll.
That's accurate.
Showing up solely...
That's fairly from what I know.
You familiar with Mr. Mxyzptlk, Superman enemy?
No, but help me out.
Gilbert Godfrey, imp that shows up and has magical powers and messes with Superman just to mess with him.
No, but that definitely sounds like Q.
I'm a bigger comic book fan. Off the record.
I know that.
But
that was never a question. No, we're going.
It's okay. But yes, he is literally a god that just comes up and messes with Picard. He loves to mess with Picard, and that is literally his purpose. You're not wrong. He is an intergalactic, omnipotent troll.
I mean...
He becomes more than that.
He does.
He becomes more than that.
But I feel like... I don't know. What's wrong with that?
I don't think there is. Do you not like that, actually? I guess I didn't understand what
just because...
It's a big intergalactic troll. I think it's good comedy, I think.
Yeah.
The statement's not invalid, right?
You're going to like
we'll start there.
You gotta have your foil.
I'm okay with a foil, but it just seems like he picks him out of random. Like, okay, there's random human fleet.
No. Well, this is the thing. Yes, originally, but the thing about Q is he's fascinated by Picard because Picard, because he's Patrick Stewart, represents the best of humanity. And even because Q doesn't really like humanity and kind of wants to see them fail, Picard's kind of that one glimpse of hope that makes him curious. That's why he's fascinated by it. He's fascinated by Picard. He doesn't care about anybody else.
No.
He despises humans, but he likes Picard. And you'll see that as you go along, he has this kind of more personal relationship with him.
And that's what everyone's been telling me. So
I reserve judgment, man.
I've been really trying to reserve judgment, but I'll be honest, I did not like him in the first episode.
Oh, wow. So you did not like Hugh that much?
I thought he was annoying. I thought he was unlikable.
Well, he was kind of the villain. You know?
He was. He was. And,
yeah.
But it was weird because
wow.
you could tell that you could tell they wanted to do something more with him to make it more complicated, but instead it just felt like the same issue I have with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Very bad because evil is 95% of all their villains.
Well, I think you might be jumping to conclusions. Like I said, you're right. This character as a template, they have an idea of where to take him. But like I said, you'll see him do many different things. His character does grow, and in fact, you'll get to see a very different version of him DS9 a couple episodes from now.
Ooh.
So
he actually shows up in DS9.
He shows up in DS9 and Voyager.
I was going to say,
really?
I think he's a mainstay.
He's a staple.
Yeah.
So you'll be missing some of the gaps, but you'll get to see how different he is, even by the couple of years after in DS9.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so you'll get a glimpse of what happens to him. He goes through a lot. Yes, the God goes through a lot, but he does. So yeah, reserve judgment, honestly.
Yeah, but
that does surprise me. I would have thought you would have really dug John Delancey's Q.
No, I mean the actor did a fine job. It was just the character I found, frankly, annoying for no better reason than he's annoying. Though, to get back to the Voyager question, I apologize.
This will now be subtitled Voyager pilot review plus Q discussion, but that's fine.
What was the Voyager discussion at this point?
Much like
Joe.
Much like Q. No, go ahead. I thought it was interesting. Go ahead.
Jeez, what were we talking about?
Another jump cutaway. This is why video is great because
I couldn't tell you.
I actually don't know where did the Q part come in.
No idea.
I think we were just talking about like
the structure of the pilots.
Yeah, sort of comparing and contrasting.
Okay.
This one, even though there was a lot of filler in TNG, and there's a little bit of filler in this, particularly in the first 45 minutes. I think there was more of a driving purpose. I just wish it wasn't so forced, because I literally felt like I was being shoved in every single direction it was trying to take me.
Well, they were trying to kind of peg Janeway as being, the first female captain, uber feminist. It's kind of obvious. That's okay, I guess. But
counterpoint to Roddenberry's treatment earlier,
which I like.
Yeah, because that sort of
military things always bug me.
Deep Space Nine, that sort of confused me. Yeah, because they were calling women sir there.
It's tradition. It's the way they do it in the military to be, I guess.
Yes,
less
in the year 2350 or whatever.
She's a woman. Deal with it.
Are.
Ma'am's fine. I mean, I don't mind saluting the ma'am. Whatever.
That's what I'm fine with.
In every other circumstance.
I thought it was interesting though that she gets that line, which is a great line, I might add. Mm-hmm. And then foreshadows like, okay, there'll be some point where ma'am is acceptable, and it never really.
They kind of go back to calling her sir.
There's one point, I think probably around the 3/4 mark of the pilot, where a character once again addresses her as ma'am, and no comment, no harsh dialogue, just keeps rolling with him. Like, okay, that last really cool scene where it's just being treated like an official rank is more or less negated.
Well, I guess as we're wrapping up,
because ma'am's more preferable than sir.
I would think so.
But she asks, I don't want to be called sir or ma'am, I want to be referred to as captain.
No, what she said was, ma'am is like whatever, but I prefer captain. Mm-hmm. The point was, don't call me sir.
Yeah, it's more generally acceptable.
Yeah.
And you guys are touching on one of the big aspects of Voyager, is this whole feminist icon sort of comes into play.
Yeah.
But the place of woman in power, it's a big deal. Maybe why it was controversial. I don't know. But I do want to wrap this up with one thing, because more controversial than Janeway is perhaps the most hated character in... one of the most hated characters in all of Trek. How did you guys feel about, I guess I already know, Neelix?
How did I know that was the one?
If you know why. I think you can wager a guess why there might be
Don't have to try too hard.
some issues why this forced comedic foil who shouldn't be in the story but will become an integral character
Yes, it's my understanding that he's
mainstay
on board now for the whole.
Well,
no pun intended.
But because they're in deep space and
yeah, where else is he going to go?
And there's energy transfers, and apparently they don't have enough to use their generator to produce food. They need a cook.
Yes.
See why this is kind of a...
It's an odd situation.
Because, it's Star Trek and they don't need to cook. But it does provide for a lot of good kitchen gags, which you'll see. You want to know something, though? I'm okay with Neelix.
I didn't hate him in the pilot.
I'm okay with him, but there will be instances where, like, literally you're on this highly qualified team, best of the best, and Neelix will save the day with, like, fungus and stuff. It's one of those issues where it's like kind of a Wesley deal, but at least Wesley's like a genius kid,
right?
Where you can understand why he might be there, whereas Neelix is, it's an obvious comedic thing. I don't know.
It seems to me just from the pilot, and I was okay with it because I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah,
but it seemed to me that Neelix is the Gilligan of the Voyager.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
right?
It seems that way.
So how'd you feel about him, Justin?
I'll be honest. He's definitely the Voyager equvalent of Wesley Crusher. But here's where I think the two differ.
Okay.
Wesley, less than I'd say 2 minutes into his introduction,
hated him.
I hated him and hope that something would happen that would eliminate him completely.
We hold the Will Wheaton hangings.
Wow.
30 years late, but still there. Keep going. Neelix, though.
Neelix, I at least thought he was likable. I was curious to see what he was going to do.
At least he has an interesting motivation. He wants to help somebody care about somebody. He's not a bad person.
No,
he wants to help.
Yeah, I think his makeup's pretty good too.
Yeah, the makeup was fine.
So yeah, that was the big thing I was wondering though. So yeah, I thought Voyager was pretty decent for a start. I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more on with this one than Deep Space Nine at this point.
That will change.
I know.
I mean, that will almost certainly change.
And I know there's certainly more classic characters in Deep Space Nine.
Well, let's see. In Voyager, you have
Odo.
Janeway, the Doctor, 709.
Tuvok. Don't forget the famous rapper, Tuvok.
Tuvok's... I like Tuvok. If he's classic, I don't know. Chakotay, nobody likes. The second in command.
Yeah.
Literally, people hate him.
That.
For obvious reasons. The whole Native American force thing is... Oh my! I just got flashbacks to a next gen episode. I'll tell you guys after the recording.
Okay.
But yeah, there are more classic characters in DS9. You're right. But Voyager has their fair share. But I'm curious to see what you guys think of it in the future. So we'll wrap this up, and we'll come back around unless you want to say something.
No, I mean I'm underwhelmed, but I'm certainly leaving the.
I told you Voyager's like underwhelmed. Did you expect it to be worse?
Okay.
F- territory.
No.
The time will come eventually.
Okay, when you think about Trek as this like renowned sci-fi show, which I think we can all agree with.
Yeah.
You have TOS, which has a really awesome pilot.
Yeah.
You have TNG, which has a pilot that leaves something to be desired, but
you get it.
It's got its cult following, so you know it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
You have DS9, which does a lot of really interesting things.
Okay.
Is it 100% perfect? No, but it's you can definitely tell it's going somewhere. And obviously, a lot of people, it's not got the same cult following as TNG, but it's up there.
Yeah, it's got up there.
And then there's Voyager, which I'll be honest, after the last three, where I was relatively satisfied with all those.
You thought they were kind of moving up, basically.
Yeah, it's like okay, good. Okay, really good. What the?
Okay, so you expected the standard to be higher by now.
Just simply because of Trek. Maybe because of that I had a little too high expectations. But
no, I mean, hey, you should always.
You've heard that Voyager is quite subpar.
Not quite. I mean, not to the extent of Enterprise.
No, nothing. That's why.
No, but still.
Voyager, like I said.
You know that of the four of them, it is the least highly regarded.
Like any fan base, the Trek series have their subdivisions of different fans. There are hardcore Voyager fans, and I can understand some reasons why. But generally speaking, it's the lowest rated of the four good Trek shows. So, I mean, I can understand you being underwhelmed. I'm surprised that you had very high expectations anyway, based on what I warned you about. But be positive. It is Trek. Trek is generally pretty high standards. Mm-hmm. But next time we'll come back for some original series again with the first appearance of Kirk, where no man has gone before, with ridiculous superpowered beings and bad contact lenses.
Thank God all the crew will be there too,
except for McCoy.
Oh, McCoy.
Not in the second. He appears in the third, which is...
Well, he was on the Next Gen pilot.
So you got this will carry over. But
episode.
Soon, though, we'll have your favorite, though, Mr. Bailey. Revisiting him again.
That'll be a war in and of itself.
It's a classic episode. He thinks it's going to be a war.
Right. I don't know.
We'll see. But anyway, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Till the next time.